July was a month of starting new games for me. I'm sure that for some people that might mean more than the month held for me, but starting up 3 new games in 1 month is a pretty good month in my estimate. You may think that with that many new games getting added to the list, that I also completed a number of games this month. That's not exactly what happened, but I'll explain when I come to those sections. I really enjoyed the games that I played in July, both old and new. While I'm sure that once summer ends, this lineup will shift, I am enjoying what I've been playing over the summer. So let's take a look at what those games were for the month of July. I was able to put 1 game in the completed section this month. This shouldn't come as any surprise from last month, as I was very close to putting a game in this category in June, but knew I was probably going to play it at least once in July. And that game was Terraria. At the end of last month, I had earned the Platinum Trophy for Terraria on the PS4, but my kids still needed some help with some of the trophies that they were working on that we could get together. This didn't take long, as we only played it 1 day this month at the very beginning, and they were able to pretty much get what they were needing to get, either period, or that they just would need to play it on their own to get the trophies that they had left. It was, however, the end of our Terraria journey that we've been playing for the last few years though. With a game as great and replayable as Terraria, this probably won't be the last time that it's ever on my list. However, it is probably going to be a little while before I'm playing it again, so I'm fairly comfortable sticking it on this list for now. In terms of story, I have 2 new games. You may wonder why there wasn't a new completed story game on the list, but that's because one of the games I finished, I still have some extra trophies to wrap up, but still went forward and started a new story game after it was finished. The first story game is Stardew Valley. I continued my playthrough through Stardew Valley Expanded this month. I did only play it once, which is pretty much what it usually seems like I'm doing these days. I am well into the summer of the 2nd year, and while I can't say that too much exciting happened, I was able to see the Green Rain event for the first time that got added in the newest update for Stardew Valley. I was also able to finish up the fish tank in the community center, which leaves only the bulletin board to finish up, and I am currently growing the last 2 items needed for that, so hopefully the next time I play it, or maybe even 2 times I play it, I'll be able to get the community center completely wrapped up. So overall, I feel like I am doing well in my playthrough. I just happen to be going very slowly through that playthrough. Despite my lack of speed, I am enjoying myself. Stardew Valley is a very fun game, and the Stardew Expanded mod just adds even more to enjoy. I just don't get to it as often as I would like. The second game is Horizon Zero Dawn. This was the game that occupied most of my time this month. I was able to finish the story of Horizon Zero Dawn and its DLC, The Frozen Wilds. I was even able to platinum the game and get all the trophies from the DLC. So why is this game not in the completed category? Mainly because there are still 2 trophies related to the New Game Plus that I will probably attempt to get in a quicker run through of the game eventually. Given that I just finished the game and spent a good 60 hours with it, this probably won't happen very soon, but it will happen. If you're interested in my thoughts on the game, I did put out a review this month on it. I'll link it in the video and the description below if you're interested. The third story game is Nom Nom Galaxy. So after my kids and I finished Terraria, I wound up making a list of a bunch of games that we owned that we could play together in place of Terraria. Each of them could pick 1 game, or they could decide on one together. They each decided on separate games, and my daughter picked Nom Nom Galaxy. I must admit, I'm not entirely sure it fits in the story category. There is a campaign to the game, but the story is pretty non-existent. You're basically a soup company trying to make delicious soups and send them out on various planets in the galaxy. It's a quirky little game and wasn't exactly what I expected. It's an interesting mix of base building, base defense, exploration, and resource gathering. There is also an automation function to the game as well, and that was definitely a part I wasn't quite expecting. I think I was expecting more of a game like Terraria, where there was just like base building and you just were on one map and trying to build things as best as you can, getting different varieties of soups or whatever, but it's not quite that. Even if it wasn't what I was expecting though, I still found the game enjoyable. The tutorial on it was not the best ever in a game because it really didn't do a good job of introducing you to all the elements and just kind of threw you into a map that wasn't really even well made in my opinion, so it kind of made things a little difficult to go into. But once you started into the basic planets and got an idea of what you were doing from that, it wound up being a lot smoother. And the last story game for July is Final Fantasy VII. After beating Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm continuing on with my journey through the mainline Final Fantasy games. While I know that Final Fantasy VII is a popular game in the series, I honestly don't have strong feelings toward it. I know that I played it many years ago, and of course know all the characters due to playing it and also just the influences had in the gaming culture at large. So I'm really looking forward to playing through it again to see what I think about it a little bit clearer, because I don't really have a strong feelings for it like I do for Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy VI, and even some of the later ones like Final Fantasy IX or Final Fantasy X. Like for some reason, Final Fantasy VII just kind of like I remember it, but I don't really remember loving it, remember hating it. It just was like, okay, it was a good game, but I don't really have the nostalgia with it that some of the other Final Fantasy games carry, which seems odd given the popularity of Final Fantasy VII in the culture at large. I'm not very far in the game so far, but it has been fun what I've played. If anything, the only thing that I'm really like, wow, this isn't very good, is that the graphics have not aged well. While I've always thought that the pixelated style of the SNES in particular holds up fairly well even in modern aesthetics, the PS1 era of transitioning to 3D is kind of rough with the polygon look, and it just isn't as good as you would think looking back at it. I know on release, like the graphics were super impressive and it was like, wow, this is like a 3D Final Fantasy game, but looking back now, it's kind of hard to believe that was the case. Moving on from story games, I'll be focusing on games that I call endless games. These are games that don't have clear-cut endings. They can be online PvP, arcade, sandbox, creative, simulation, or party games. Some of these are games I enjoy quite a bit and keep playing off and on, while others are ones that I play for a season and then move on from. There are also games that we'll play as a family off and on depending on the month and who picks what game. July was a month that saw a number of games on the list. The fixtures to this list remain, but there are also a few other regular games or series on the list as well. There was even another new game to add for this month, so let's dive in. The first endless game is Fortnite. The first of the 3 games that I consider fixtures on this list at the moment, Fortnite remains a game that I play regularly with my family. Summer is a time that we get to play it a bit more, which is nice, and with somewhere around half a month left, I'm hoping that I'll get through all the super levels this season, but I'm honestly not sure that will happen. I have started to earn them and still have quests to do, so it's possible but no guarantee. I'm feeling confident I'm to the last skin of the second super level color, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to get it and all of the last one before the end of the season. The season overall still remains a bit mixed for me. I do like the car combat element of the season, but it can also feel like cars really dominate if you find yourself without one. Also, I found the Pirates of the Caribbean crossover for this season really strange as it doesn't fit the season at all. I like the crossover event, but it just doesn't feel like it fits with the apocalyptic wasteland season that Fortnite has going on right now. Like a Mad Max or something like that would have been kind of a no-brainer crossover, but this one was just a little weird in my opinion. But even with these minor complaints, I do still enjoy my time with Fortnite and playing it together with everyone. Second endless game is Marvel Snap. July was a pretty significant month for Marvel Snap. There were a couple new modes and features added to the game over the course of the month. Deadpool's Diner is an event going on currently where you bet bubs to win bubs and unlock rewards. I don't feel like the event was that much fun personally, but that could just be because I'm not feeling very good and lose my bubs regularly. The other addition is Alliances, which I'm kind of mixed about. It seems like a fun way to get points for playing a variety of types of decks and trying out new different things, but it also feels like I'll never be a part of an alliance that actually gets the more significant rewards. In terms of progress for the month, I remain getting stuck on the ladder around 70. With Conquest and Deadpool's Diner to also play, I honestly haven't been playing a ton of ladder. In terms of new cards, I wound up getting Gwenpool, Hydra Bob, Beta Ray Bill, and Copycat. Not as good as last month without the drop of cards to Series 3, but still a decent selection of cards for the month. Snap is fun, but it can also be a pretty frustrating game that can leave you feeling stuck quite often, which can make you not really want to play the game as much as they probably want you to. The third game is NGU Idle. This rounds out the usual trio of games that are on my endless list at the moment. NGU Idle continues to be a game that I've been playing, or playing as much as you play an idle game throughout the month. I was able to get the final boss of normal mode defeated, but I feel like it will be a while before I'm able to move to evil difficulty and make any more significant progress. So for now, I'm just trying to get as many challenges done as possible in normal mode, while also just building up energy, magic, and adventure power. I'm honestly not sure how the road forward for NGU Idle will go. If evil is too much of a grind, or if even just getting to evil is too much of a grind, I could see this game losing some steam with me, but who knows, maybe it will be fine. Maybe I'll feel like I'm still consistently being able to get some things done and making progress, and that won't really be an issue, but it's definitely something that I'm getting a little worried about kind of coming into the difficulty change. The fourth endless game is Warframe. Now, I wound up playing a decent amount of Warframe in July. My son and I were able to talk my daughter into giving it a try, and she actually enjoyed it. We were also able to convince my wife to get into it too, but she hasn't really done very much with it. With getting a few more people into the game though, I've played more during July than I expected. I've played with both of the kids, trying to catch my daughter up, and also played a little on my own, working to make progress myself. I wound up being able to build my necromech and get through the new war quest, which I thought the new war quest was both fun and frustrating at times, as it had some stealth sections that I was not a big fan of. But overall, I did kind of find the story fascinating and interesting, and I want to kind of keep going through some of the quests that I have now unlocked due to the new war, but I'd also had some that were just kind of languishing that I just needed to finish up. So I have also finished up the Wave Rider quest as well after I finished out New War, which was nice to wrap up because the K drive is not something that I love really playing around with all that much, but I was able to get it all done. I'm trying to work through some of the quests that I had before the new war and then going into some of the ones that were unlocked after I finished up the new war and hopefully get caught up to all the quests being completed. The fifth endless game is Deep Rock Galactic. This was the post-Terraria game that my son chose. Deep Rock Galactic doesn't really mess around with a story or anything of that nature. It's just about going to various caverns, mining, and killing tons of bugs, and maybe kicking barrels around in various places that management doesn't want you to in between. It's a fun game with a humorous atmosphere, but it's also a bit more difficult than I expected. Maybe we're just really new and still pretty bad at the game, but I'm doubting that things will get easier as we progress more and more into the game. But we'll see. Maybe we're just taking a little while to get into it, but we've had some pretty epic defeats in our short time with it so far. Being tough though doesn't mean it's not fun, as I think all of us have had an enjoyable time with it, even if it does maybe get a little frustrating when a mission that you've been working towards or you're just so close to beating winds up in failure due to all of us dying. The sixth endless game is Rock Band 4. We played Rock Band 4 twice, which is not a normal month for us. We maybe play it once at most. Now, it could have had something to do with picking up a new guitar controller after finally seeing one available for purchase. I didn't get any time with the new controller, but it seems like it is working much better than our old PS3 era Rock Band guitars. At some point, I may pick up a second one, but we'll see. Depends on how our budget is, and also just whether I can find another one available whenever that all lines up. We do enjoy playing Rock Band, and having better controllers may make us play a bit more, so it's probably worth looking into it, especially because you just never know how long those kind of controllers are going to be on the market, but we'll see how it all goes. The final endless game is Jackbox Party Pack 4. We also played Jackbox Party Pack 4 during July. It's a fairly regular occasion for us to play one of these during a month, and Party Pack 4 was the winner for this month. I really like Party Pack 4 for the most part. For me, Monster Seeking Monster is definitely the weakest link of this one, maybe because it just doesn't work well with 4 players. I'm not really sure. It could just be that it just isn't a game that works, period. But whatever it is, I don't usually enjoy my time with that game that much. It just feels a little too contrived for me. The rest, I really enjoy. Fibbage 3, Survive the Internet, Bracketeering, and even Civic Doodle are all pretty fun in my opinion. If there's a weakest one out of that, I'd maybe say Civic Doodle can be, but I still find Civic Doodle to be quite a lot of fun, and also very humorous sometimes with the various things that you draw all together. I didn't really work on any games just for trophies in July. With all the other game playing and summer activities for the family and everything like that, it just wasn't really able to happen. And that's what I played during July. I felt like it was a month that led to some good progress in some games and also the start of some new experiences. While some of these will probably drop off as the kids go back to school at the end of summer, I'll still be enjoying playing with them while I can and then seeing where I go from there. How about you? What have you been playing in July? Let me know in the comments, as it's always fun to see what others are playing and to look for games I may like to add to my own backlog. Anyway, I hope that everyone had a great month and that you've been playing games that you enjoy. That's all for this month, so I'll see you in the next video.